Hello. Hello, hello. I'm so excited to be here with you today on Wisdom from Within, where mindset meets body set. And many people think, what is body set? Well, body set is our internal wisdom. It is the innate intelligence within us that needs to be awoken and engaged with and understood so that we can live whole. We need to have our mindset and our body set in order to be aligned and live on purpose and lead from the inside out in all aspects of our life. So I know some of you might have been looking forward to my guest today. Unfortunately, she could not be here. So I am here solo, and I am going to pour into you for the next 20 or so minutes just to remind you of this beautiful, innate, and wise wisdom that you have within you. We talk about this all the time on this live stream because it is a message that is becoming a movement. It is my intention for all of you to awaken this incredible source within you. To me, there's this ingredient is not only necessary, it is essential for us to show up authentically, for us to have success in our life, especially if you're someone that is craving to just live your truth and maybe you're just afraid of it. I completely understand that, by the way. I was just on a call with a client just this morning, and it was like she was really talking about how her work is so research based and she's really up here in her mind, somewhat disconnected from her body. She does different things like meditates and does yoga and gets in there. But in terms of using that wisdom from within as a source for guidance, she was like, I don't even really know what that means, which I completely understand. And when we started to get into the work, when we started to engage with the body in this way, she was just like, this is scary. And I validate that. It is scary. It's scary because it's our truth. It's scary because a lot of it is stuff that we haven't faced or we've pushed aside. Think about it. From the beginning, it's been like, oh, you're too emotional, or you're sad, okay, just kind of ignore it, or it's not that sad, or sort of discounting the emotions and the feelings that we have. We've never been taught to engage with these emotions, to really lean in and ask and get curious. And the thing is that where I stand, and probably the people that are listening right today, we're all at least 20 years and older. So we're not reliving maybe the pain of our childhood. We are where maybe some of these emotions stem from, or maybe we're just feeling some things off the fly. But a lot of times it's scary to re-engage with some of this emotional intelligence because it's connected to things that happened to us when we were children. But the thing is, in this way in which we're looking at it, we're re-engaging with safety, with compassion, with curiosity, to understand and to learn, to actually be the student of ourselves. And so that's the invitation. And now bringing it forward to today, to present, if we're feeling something, this pathway is about leaning in and not running from. It's walking towards, not turning our back on. I mean, you can think about it like this. If a friend is feeling sad or anxious or worried about something, you're gonna lean in. You're gonna ask them, what's on your heart? Why are you feeling this way? How can I support you? How can I help? It's truly no different with ourselves. We have to look at ourselves through the same lens, as if we're looking at ourselves, our best friend inside, because that best friend, that voice, that source has so much to teach you. And it truly is the guiding light for you to walk into, so that you can find the answers and the strength and the courage and all the things to design the life that you deserve. And as a result of all of that, when we really listen to ourselves and we learn the lessons we're supposed to, we create whatever it is that's in front of us. If you're a teacher, you create inspired, authentic curriculum for your students. If you're a parent, you are realizing what matters most to you and how you want to lead. So you've engaged with yourself, and now you can parent from that authentic place. Books are important, and there's a lot of resources out there, but your truth is the most important. So leaning in to tap in to understand what it is that is real for you, what's most important to you, is the guiding light, is the professor in a way. You've got like this professor inside of you ready to teach you and guide you into your purpose, into meaning, into the lessons that you're meant to bring into the world. Okay, so because I had a whole plan with my guest, I'm pivoting and I'm detouring into bringing something new to you. So I have right here my book. So for those of you that are listening, I became an author this year, very exciting. And the title of the book is Your Body is Speaking. And I thought that it would be very relevant, obviously, because this live stream is titled The Wisdom from Within. So, which ties directly into Your Body is Speaking. Your Body is Speaking is all about listening to that wisdom from within. So this entire book is an invitation. And I thought that it could be powerful for me to just scan with you what those table of contents are, what you can expect to get inside of this book, because it speaks so directly to why you're here. What is body wisdom? What is emotional intelligence? What does it mean to listen? How can it help us? What is bodyset? Right? I'm bringing a lot of new language to you, and I want to unpack some of it so that you can really apply it in your life now, tomorrow, in a month, whatever. But I want this to awaken that source within you. So your body is speaking. When you go in and look at the table of contents, you're going to see that the book is categorized in 3 sections: embody, empower, and elevate. And I want to explain this for a minute because it's really important. I've designed this 3E framework that can really help you understand where you are in your life, in a moment, in a situation. So when we come into the world, we are connected. We are connected to our source. We are connected to our purpose and our power. Nothing has separated us because it's the soul and this little body that hasn't really been touched yet. And I believe that when we enter, we are aligned with our purpose already. We have that source, that spirit that comes in is on a path, has the ingredients. We just need to grow and evolve into what that looks like. But what happens is right away, we are influenced by outside external voices, which is natural, right? It's our parents, it's our friends, it's society. We hear these directions of who we're supposed to be, what life is supposed to look like, what path we're supposed to go on. All of that makes sense because our parents are speaking from their own life experiences. But what happens is, as we move through life, we disengage or disconnect or disembody from that source of who we are, who we truly are. And we're influenced by outside voices. We start to feel like we should go down this path. We should follow this path. We should make these choices. We should feel a certain way because outside influences, the only influences that we truly know at that point because we're so young, we believe that that's the way to go. So we go. And as a result, we many times disconnect from the truth of who we are. So the first phase of my 3E framework, all of which I talk about in the book, is embody. The importance of re-embodying, getting to know who we are, getting back to that wisdom, getting back to that source inside of you. And once we get there, once we understand who we truly are, what it is we truly want, where it is we want to go, what are the things that we like, what lights us up and what doesn't, right? That embodied phase is so critical. So if you're someone that is feeling misaligned, if you're feeling disembodied, if you're feeling, out of alignment with who you are, this phase is where you want to get realigned again. You want to stack it up. In my book, I talk a lot about like the Jenga, if you know the Jenga game. So you stack the blocks. It's kind of like that. You're stacking your values. You're stacking your belief system. And once you're there, then you feel empowered. And we enter that empower phase. And empower is all about, okay, I'm aligned, I'm embodied, I feel ready. And so now we're embodied, we're connected to our source. And in this phase, we can create that inspired action. We can create the steps that feel good for us and start to design the life that we desire, we deserve, and we're ready for. And once we get to that embody phase and complete that to a degree, we're ready to elevate. And elevate are where the birds come in. Do you see the birds up here? I'm pointing and I see the birds here. The birds are about flight. Now you can fly. Now you can go. Now you can elevate and you can serve. Now, the thing about the 3E framework is that we're constantly moving in and out because life happens and we get disconnected from that wisdom from within. We could lose someone, we're grieving a shift in our life, or if you make a move or you end a relationship, or there's a big transition, you make a choice, you even just simply, like when I go into my sessions with my clients, a lot of times we'll come in and we're just like, I'm not feeling great today, and I'm feeling like, just off track, and I'm doubting myself, and I'm not feeling like I can do this or that. That is when we're disembodied because we're not connected to our source. So we re-embody. This can happen in an hour. This can happen in a year, depending on what you're dealing with in the moment. But what I'm trying to explain is that embody, empower, elevate is cyclical. So in those sessions when someone's like, I'm not feeling aligned and I'm feeling doubtful and I don't feel like I can show up fully, we get embodied, we feel empowered, and then we elevate by the end of the session. So it's, again, this cycle gives you safety and like a place to fall back on, to know, oh, I'm in this phase, I'm in that phase. And no, you're not alone, because I believe that this framework, this 3E framework, is what all of us cycle through on a regular basis. So it's really meant to give you something to kind of anchor into and feel good about. So I go into a lot of that in my book. So if you're really curious about the wisdom from within and how to tap in and how to connect to that framework can really help you. Before I go further, I'm having another thought that I just want to share with you. I think it's important to understand that when we actually, you know what? I'm going to pause. I'm going to continue on my train of thought because I'm going to come back to what I was just going to say. I was going to talk about bodyset, which is what helps us go through the 3E framework. And I want to talk about that with you in just a second, but I think it's important that we do this first. So now I'm going to pivot again. Okay, so back to the table of contents, because the bodyset piece is just going to come in here naturally when I share this with you. So chapter 1 is all about mapping your journey away from self. Like I was just talking to you about how we get disembodied. That first part is about that disconnection story. What is that map? What did that journey look like? Because in order to find our way back to our source and to get embodied and to be able to connect to that authentic, empowered wisdom, we have to map our journey of how we lost track in the first place. Again, looking through a lens of curiosity and compassion, not looking through a lens of judgment or reliving. It's just understanding where we came from, where this happened, what influences took place, which ones do we align with still, and which ones don't we, right? It's all about that getting to know. The second chapter is all about reconnecting with the body, right? Restoring that innate wisdom. And I'm not going to go into it here, but in this section in the book, I talk a lot about two forms of intelligences that we all innately have: kinesthetic and emotional. Now, there are multiple forms of intelligence. And why do I think that this is important and why do I talk about it so much in my book? Is because a lot of us, with me included, we can feel not worthy in many cases. I'm sure so many of you that are listening can relate to that for different reasons. For me, my worthiness really stemmed for many years from my confidence around my intelligence. I didn't think that I was smart enough because I didn't do well on my SAT scores. And when I was growing up, all of the measurement for success and the measurement for intelligence was how well you did on your SAT scores and how well you did on tests. I wasn't a great test taker, but there was no invitation to talk about any other form of learning except for logical and mathematical. So I carried this story that was extremely debilitating for so many years of my life. That, for me, was a huge part of my disconnection story. And I had to understand that in order to get realigned and reconnected to my power and my truth and my form of intelligence. So in chapter 2, when I talk about reconnecting to the body and I bring in these different forms of intelligence, it is for you to see what forms of intelligence, because there are 9 that I lay out in this book, that you may relate to and say, oh, I am worthy, if your worthiness is connected to your intelligence, which a lot of people I find it is. So part of my mission is to restore your sense of worthiness by teaching you about the different forms of intelligence. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, email me because I have a lot of information about it. So for me, this is like a huge part of my motivation to empower you, to enlighten you, to open that up for you to know there's musical intelligence, spatial intelligence, kinesthetic, emotional, interpersonal, existential. I mean, the list kind of goes on. It's not very long. Like I said, it's 9, but it is an awakening. It's an aha. It can be. And if I can do that for you, then I feel like I've been successful. So in chapter 2, we talk a lot about that. And then part 2 is empower. Because in that embody phase of disconnection story, reconnection, getting to know you, who am I, that's embodied, like I shared with you. Empower is about, okay, now I have the strength, I know who I am, and I can break free from conformity. This is a really big one. This is a big one because when you can break free from conformity, you can fly. Hence the birds, because that's what happened to me. You know, I felt like I was living inside of a box to a certain degree. I wasn't following along on every path, but here's a quick example, quick story, and I talk about it in my book. When my son, he was my first child, and he was getting circumcised, because in the Jewish religion, that is a ritual and a tradition that we do. And so circumcision is about cutting the foreskin of the boy's penis. And we were doing this ritual, and it was a beautiful ceremony, and the rabbi was there, and the apartment was filled. And traditionally, women stand away from the procedure. And so, and the men are up front with the baby. And I was pulled back. I followed that tradition for a moment, and I was in the back of the room with the women until I wasn't, because my body spoke so loud. That like wisdom, that nudge, that sensation was so strong, and it basically was like, what are you, like, no, this doesn't feel good to me. I needed to stay next to him. I needed to be next to him. It didn't feel good in my body to follow someone else's path or tradition or mindset. I had to really pay attention to what my body was saying, and in that moment, it was saying, You need to go stand by your son and you need to hold his hand. And I'm very grateful because I really trusted the instinct. I didn't think too much. I felt it. I could really feel it. And then it was a decision to trust it and be led by it. And that's what all of this is. My whole mission is to awaken the wisdom from within for you, restore that sense of intelligence so that you can pay attention, listen to it, trust it, and be led by it. Because when you lead by that internal knowing, that's when you create the success that I'm talking about. I talk about embodied leadership and all of this, and you apply that in every aspect of your life. But that's a whole other conversation, but that's the outcome. The outcome of listening to your body's wisdom is success, is being able to step into difficult conversations, is being able to lead your team at work, lead your children at home, lead your relationships, lead yourself, right? So there is so much to this. So many reasons why is what I'm trying to say. So breaking free from conformity, which I did in that example that I shared with you, and I have a million other stories, and I'm sure you do as well. And I would love nothing more than to hear about them. So please, feel if any of what I'm talking about is speaking to you, or you're curious, or you want to share a story, I also invite you to come onto this live stream with me. I want to hear about your stories. I want to understand what your relationship is to body wisdom. Do you know what it is? Does it mean anything to you? Do you want to learn more? Do you want to share a story? Like, all of this is very inspiring for people to listen to so that they can realize there is this incredible source within them. Okay. Then chapter 4 is all about healing and integration. Really healing from, okay, I'm embodied, I'm feeling empowered, I'm breaking free from conformity, I'm following my voice, and now I'm strong enough to heal some of those wounds of why I didn't follow my gut. I'm strong, I've built that safety. That's the key. We build safety, right? You have to build safety inside of your body so that you can trust yourself enough to listen and lead from that authentic, empowered place. So I kind of go at the healing and integration a little bit later when you've restored that safety, when you've restored that inner wisdom. Then we can go in and we know we're strong enough and capable to really hear it and be the student of it and heal whatever it is we need to. And then chapter 5 is all about courageous expression and truly leading from the inside out. Because when we do that, wow, it's liberating. It's liberating. And so much happens when we live from that place. And that is truly my invitation to you. I invite you into this conversation because everyone's got it. This isn't something one person can do. This is something every single person can do. It is a choice. It is a choice to pause. It's a choice to pause so that you can remember. I'm not teaching you anything new. I'm helping you remember the power within you. I'm helping you remember that you've got everything that you need. Of course, we want to seek our friendship, our friends and our parents' advice once in a while. Of course, we want to look outside of ourselves for that, but that is not the source. We are the source, and we lead from the inside out. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to wrap up because we're at time. I'm so glad you came. Thank you for flowing with me because we took this shift in today's episode. So I appreciate you. Please come back next week, every Wednesday, Wisdom from Within, learning how we invite bodyset and mindset into the equation so that we can have wholeness, so that we can lead from our truth, from our passion, from our strong, authentic intention. So let's go with all of this. And again, email me, jen@jenax.com. Look me up on Instagram. Go to my website. I'm here for it all. I invite you into this conversation. I'm really looking forward to seeing you next week. Okay, take care for now.